Turton Tower is a unique Tudor house that evolved originally from a simple stone peel tower that was built in 1420 as a defence fortress. It has had a long and tumultuous history featuring many different occupants over the last 500 years, from cavaliers to industrialists like the Kay family, who transformed the tower into a romantic Gothic building. Pennine Arts, in collaboration with Blackburn with Darwen Borough Council, have commissioned the artist collective Owl Project to create a site-specific artwork here as part of the Contemporary Heritage Programme. Owl Project have drawn from stories of the industrial age and James Kay's fantastic machines that he designed and built for mills and workshops throughout the region. Owl Project have created two elements that link the tower and the garden.
One of the things that struck us about Turton Tower was the fact that James Kay was such a significant figure there, but when you go around the building there's actually not a lot to kind of remind you of who he is or any of that history. There's certainly no machines, and so I think we wanted to bring a bit of that to it. Then the machine kind of started to take provenance.
This project is responding to a water frame, and they were quite prolific around the area of Blackburn in the mills. And we've taken that technology, so our machine consists of a big spinning wheel, only this spinning wheel is not for spinning flax, it's for spinning light.
We're collecting through the Lancashire Archives data around the period, and so we'll have a sense that James Kay has been collecting a range of information, a range of data, and has been trying it on his machine.
When these sort of machines were being made, people felt like their jobs were being taken away. So sometimes these machines were hidden around buildings. We had this idea for these horns in the garden that could that kind of plugged into the ground. We always loved the idea that there could be some kind of lab or workshop down in the cellar or in the tunnels, hidden with some machinery in it, transmitting the sound from below. These are horns we've been building. We started making them with the last project, Flow, when we had this need to be able to make a really efficient sound system. For this project, we really wanted to push ourselves a little bit more and make these newer ones, which are based on this tractic curve. So they've got the steam bent wooden, and you'll be amazed at how you can run these little speakers on not very much electricity, and they produce quite a bit of sound.
We've added the final data since you were last with us. We've got 3 data sets. In the middle here, 10 years worth of number of people who have claimed personal bankruptcy in the Blackburn and Darwen region. And that has been compared with 2 similar sets which look at the number of social housing. The pattern changes because the string adds together the changes on these 3 discs. Which we call data discs. As the string comes around, it adds together the movement, which will lead to here, and as this changes the voltage here, it will change the speed that this mirror spins round at, and the laser will be shining on this mirror and bouncing onto another mirror, which is controlled by the machine itself, and that will create the pattern which you will see. And the sound of the laser coming through the material that actually provides the sound.
Because we're using these mechanical components and they're made of wood, we're leaving ourselves really open to the things like movement of the wood and the noise of the components as they move. There'll be some things which come out of it which we didn't expect. There'll be loads of noise, there'll be loads of creaking, which are all elements we really try to encourage.
You come into the artwork just as an aesthetic function. You could look at it as a sculpture, you could come into it and looking at the mechanics or the sound, or you could start going a little bit deeper and seeing what other questions are around that we've been exploring.
I was aware of Owl Project's work because of the major project they delivered for the Cultural Olympiad last year. We were really keen to attract them to this project, but we didn't have the same kind of resources. So we were delighted that they were willing to take up the challenge, and we were reliant on them using the power of the imagination to make up the difference. And they have delivered. They've delivered in spades.
I think it's a wonderful piece. I think it's very well made, very well constructed, and it's interesting.
Very impressive. There's a lot of ideas that have gone behind it, a lot of work has gone into it. I do like the fact that it's based on the historical content.
The bits that kind of make it more interesting when you start looking at some of the information about things like the data discs.
We didn't know that they recorded all sorts onto it to make the laser do different things.
It was fantastic to see something in a historical setting that was doing what their work does, which is kind of awkward and slightly absurd and funny and beautifully made.
The fact that we get to interact with it and it's not just them turning it or just like them pressing the buttons, I just think that's really clever.
For us, putting contemporary commissions in this kind of setting adds enormous value to the work itself, and for the visitor it provides a new way of looking at somewhere that they might take a bit for granted or might have on their doorstep but never have gotten around to visiting.
When you walk around a historical house, you're looking curiously at the things that are in it. You're trying to work out where they come from and what their history is, and I think what's inspiring about seeing contemporary works within it, it feels more like a continuum.
They've done an excellent job. They really have. I'd be proud if I'd made something like that.